Hello and welcome to the weather update. It is October 22nd, 2020, and it is quite an uncomfortable, muggy night out there. Um, Luckily, the clouds held tough today. We didn't really break out to any sun, which meant that our temperatures didn't get too warm. Right now in Farmingdale, it's 65 with a dew point of 61. If we look at the satellite, our local satellite here, you'll see those clouds kind of just hanging tough over us, and this is pretty much what it is all day. It was all day today. We had these clouds that kind of hung tough over us and kept the temperatures down from getting too hot, but it's also keeping us quite warm tonight. And temperatures are in the mid 60s. We're much above normal, and it's humid out there too. Dew point's also in the mid 60s, so it's humid. It's very still, and I had to carry some stuff back from the bus stop from the supermarket, and yeah, I got pretty hot doing it. So, this weather and me do not mix at all whatsoever, and I've really had enough of it. I really had enough. It's October. We shouldn't be sweating anymore, but yet we are. So, let's take a look at what the high temperatures were today across the area. So across Long Island, temperatures were around 70, pretty much. There are a couple of warmer readings, actually in this area. I think there might have been a couple of breaks of sun over in this area of East Central Suffolk. You see a 74 at Brookhaven Airport, but most everybody in the 60s. But again, as you go into New Jersey, you'll see the temperatures are warmer there, and well, there's an interesting little spread here. Some parts of the shore were only in the mid 60s. They probably had the clouds and the fogs, but as you head further south in the west, you had temperatures 75 at Miller Air Park, and looks like an 85 in New Gretna. I'm going to disregard that 92 at Vineland. I think that's off. But a lot of areas further south in the west and the interior got up to 80 degrees, so well above normal for this time of the year. Now let's go ahead and look at Hurricane Epsilon. It's weakened a little bit, and it's moved north. It's east of Bermuda right now. So let's get the latest public advisory on this. Epsilon could still produce tropical storm conditions over Bermuda tonight as of 8 p.m. Its location is 32.2 north, 61.5 west, about 195 miles east of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds are 85 miles an hour. It's moving north-northwest at 9 miles an hour. So it's made that turn. It's missed Bermuda, fortunately. Models right about that. And the minimum central pressure 968 millibars, or 28.59 inches, because Bermuda has had enough crazy storms. So I tell you, they are prepared for it. Literally, they get a hurricane in a couple of weeks after everything's back. Maximum sustained winds are near or 85 miles an hour. They extend out up to 15 miles from the center. So it's very small, compact core. But the tropical storm part of the storm, winds are extend outward up to 240 miles from the center. And an observation site near Heritage Wharf in Bermuda reported a sustained wind of 31 miles an hour with a gust of 52. So still a potent storm. This is what it looks like on the satellite right here. You can see it looking a little more raggedy, but look at that. In the last couple of frames, after being raggedy a large part of the day, you can see it's starting to get a more well-defined eye again. Could it be strengthening once again? Here's Bermuda. So luckily, the worst is missing Bermuda. It might not even be raining in Bermuda. I don't know. Maybe just a couple of showers there. But the worst is out over the water right here. And it's continuing to move north quite slowly. But again, look at that in the last couple of frames, the eye coming back into view again. So that could be a sign that this thing is starting to strengthen again. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised, because it seems like the models cannot predict the strengthening and the strength at all lately. They just have a lot of trouble with it. So let's go back here and let's get we already know the track. This is the track. Pretty much there's an agreement. There are a couple of models that take it a little closer to Newfoundland, but most don't. But then look at how far north they take this thing and still keep it intact in some form right by Greenland, which is very, very unusual. And that's going to bring a lot of warmth into the Arctic, which is the last thing we need. Looking at the intensity guidance, some models strengthen it again. Some models, it seems like a large port just keep the strength and then slowly weaken it. But we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. Because, again, this is a storm that's just kind of surprised a lot of people with what it's done. And look at that, the Hurricane Center. This is the map from it. And look at that. They keep it a hurricane all the way over here. And that's very unusual to see that far north, past Newfoundland, to see a hurricane going that far north. So this is what I mean about this storm. It's very unusual. And this is all part of, these are the kind of storms we're seeing on this warmer planet of ours. So let's go look at the models. And we'll go ahead and I'll give this the North American view here so you get to see everything again. So this is the North American view. There's Epsilon right there. Models are a little closer to the strength, actual strength now, finally. Finally, after a couple of days, they're finally close to it, you know. So let's start with the upper air. So here's the upper air pattern, and as you will see, we got that ridge, of course. There's Epsilon, and you see a track north. Slowly, look at that. It's still it makes our closest approach to us on probably on Saturday, but it's still very far away. But we're gonna have some effects probably at the shore, as far as the surf being kicked up and maybe some minor beach erosion and coastal flooding. And then you could see what winds up happening. So it gets caught in this flow and still slowly moves, but it's a little closer to Newfoundland there. And look at that. This is this is the upper air, and it gets pulled into this trough right here. But you'll notice that, look at that, we're still dealing with the ridge in the east. We are still dealing with this ridge as of Tuesday. And finally, maybe we start to see it break down, but we're going to have to wait until, according to the GFS, Friday. This ridge is very stubborn. It really just doesn't want to budge. It's really annoying. And then the GFS is still consistent on forming something over here, which would be Zeta. And something over here too, perhaps, as well. So we're not done yet. We got a ways to go with this tropical season. We're going to be forming tropical systems right until December. I know the season is supposed to end, but it's going to go beyond the unofficial end, because there really is no end to the season. That's another thing you're going to see with climate change. You could see hurricanes and tropical storms even in the winter. This is the way it is now. So let's take a look at the European model. This is the European model. Similar idea. So similar idea. The European seems to take it maybe a little closer to Newfoundland right there. But you can see there's that ridge. But the European has a much deeper trough and gives us a much better shot of cool air as we get from Wednesday into Thursday. It really brings the front through a lot quicker than the GFS, which wants to stall it out. So I can only hope that the European is right, because we've had enough of this already. So let's go to the surface look, and we'll take a look at the surface here. And again, there is Epsilon, and you can see it holds its strength, maybe strengthening a little bit. And look at how it gets pulled in, and then merges with another. It becomes a very intense cyclone somewhere off Greenland. This is Greenland right here. So very unusual to see that. That's going to throw a lot of warm air into the Arctic, which is not what we want to see. And it will, because I'm going to look at the temperatures now, and you'll see. Usually I don't look at the temperatures on this view. But you'll see, look at that curl of warm air going right into the Arctic. That's not good, especially when you're trying to form an ice sheet. So that is not good at all. So let's go into our closer look at our regions here, and we will go ahead and take a look at our precipitation in our area as far as what we're going to see. And it really won't be much, just a chance of a light shower, some drizzle. There's that stuck cold front there. There's Epsilon over there. And you can see that front kind of just washing out on Saturday. But it will stall to the south on Sunday, but it will make it through. So Sunday is going to be a lot more comfortable, I think. A lot more comfortable than the past. We'll have 2 more humid days to get through, I guess, is what I'm saying. Let's go ahead and look at the NAM. This is the 18Z NAM as well. Okay, so this is the NAM. And you can see most of the precipitation is just off to the north. There's Epsilon over there. And you can see this cold front here kind of just dissipates. There's not really a whole lot with it. But it is an actual front that's going to come through and bring us a change. So we'll look at the humidity on the NAM, because we have better resolution with that, so you get an idea of what happens. So here's tomorrow, and you'll see we're stuck in the humidity. Similar day to today. Maybe we'll get a break of sun, maybe we won't. It's really hard to tell, because we're stuck in this very stagnant air. Air quality is very bad. Here is Saturday, and you'll start to see a change as we head into Saturday. Winds shift to the west, and the humidity starts dropping in the afternoon. And here comes the dew points dropping way down. And it's actually going to be Epsilon that's going to help push this front through. I think I'm going to pull it through and bring us some much more comfortable weather into Sunday. Much more comfortable weather. It's going to be much more comfortable, and it's going to be cool. And that's the main thing. That's what we need so much. Is this? I mean, this is horrible out there. Who would want this weather? And I mean, you know, if you want this weather in October, go move to North Carolina. This is what our weather's becoming. It's becoming like North Carolina. So let's go look at the temperatures on the GFS. And it has them. It doesn't really have it getting that warm tomorrow, which probably indicates to me that there's going to be a lot of cloud cover around again. So it'll keep the cloud cover in. Now here's Saturday. And Saturday we're going to have more uniform temperatures because we're not going to have that sea breeze. So once those winds go west, everybody's probably going to be in the low 70s. But the humidity will be dropping. And then Sunday, nice and cool, only in the mid to upper 50s, which is going to feel really nice. I'm not going to go beyond that on the GFS because we got enough to talk about in the next couple of days as far as, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with that trough next week. But if we were to go a little further on the GFS, you'd see a lot of stall front syndrome here on this GFS. You could see we're kind of on the borderline between two air masses for much of the week if we were to look at that. So let's go look at the sky cover and see what's going to be happening with the sky cover tomorrow. Again, GFS really underestimated the sky cover today. The NAM was much more correct with all the abundance of cloud cover. And I think tomorrow we'll have another day with an abundance of cloud cover, as well as Saturday. According to the GFS anyway, an abundance of cloud cover. Here's Epsilon. Again, this is the cloud shield from Epsilon. You would think that maybe there would be some subsidence to give us a clear day on Saturday, but according to the GFS, it says no. Here's Sunday. Sunday, we may luck out with mostly sunny skies, especially on Long Island. Might be a clear day on Long Island, or a mostly sunny day, and hopefully and comfortable too. So could be a nice day. But then we cloud back up on Monday. I'm not going to go beyond that on the cloud cover map. Let's get the NAM's cloud cover map. See, this is the NAM for tomorrow. It pretty much keeps us socked in. Tomorrow's probably going to be similar to today. And then Saturday, we're socked in as well. Maybe some breaks of sun later in the day. And that's as far out as I got into Sunday, but it looks like it's trying to bring some clear sky in. Let's go to the NAM. Let's go to the RGEM model as well. So this is the RGEM model. This is another model we could use for skies. And again, it kind of keeps the clouds hanging tough. Maybe a few breaks here and there. More likely in interior New Jersey, away from the coast, you might see the sun, and then there it could be warmer. And then Saturday, same deal. Plenty of clouds around. But then that front comes through, and then it looks like, according to this, we should have a clear day on Sunday. So that should be very nice for Long Island. And we need a nice day to get outside because I'm going stir crazy, if you haven't been able to tell. So let's just look at windy.com. We'll look at some of the other models as far as Epsilon goes, because this now allows us to get a little closer. And this again is the European model. So let's go to the wind gusts, and hopefully this is a little closer to reality now. Yeah, it's a little closer to reality. Okay, so at least, like I said, the models are a little closer to reality with the wind gusts here. This is the European model, so we're going to take a look at this on the European model and see how this thing tracks. Again, this is windy.com. So you see it's moving slow, but you notice that it's strengthening as it moves north. So we could see, like I said, it looks like it was really starting to strengthen when we looked at those last couple of satellite frames. And it very well possibly could, because look at the European. Look at it get stronger as it's moving its way north, which is unusual. Here you go. So it could, like I said, having this thing become a major hurricane, again, is not out of the question. Look at this. The European really seems to want to intensify this thing. Here it is on Saturday. And it could have maximum sustained winds at over 100 miles an hour. And again, it makes that right turn. Luckily, God, it doesn't head toward us, because if it did, it would be a disaster. But you can still see those very strong winds on this thing. Look at that. Very strong winds there around the center, particularly on the south side of it, which is usually unusual. Usually it's on the northeast side. And there it goes. It looks like it luckily misses. It looks like it will miss St. John's. Let's see. This does have better resolution. You'll be able to see it looks like the impacts to St. John's would be small. And then finally maybe it starts losing some of its tropical characteristics. But man, this thing in some form will be, if you follow it, look at it. It's south of Greenland on Monday. And look at that thing. This thing might still impact Europe in some way. It looks like it will. Yeah. According to the European model, it looks like there might be an impact in the United Kingdom next Wednesday. Wind gusts possibly of hurricane force. So, yeah, Europe, you're going to have to watch out for this thing. This thing is going to be sticking around, holding its strength because of those warm ocean temperatures. So that is what it looks like on the European model. I'm very curious to see what it looks like on the GFS. And we know the NAM doesn't cover this part of the ocean. So let's see the GFS. Shifting over to the GFS. Let's see if the GFS is also showing that strengthening. The GFS is not showing that strengthening tomorrow. It's just kind of maintaining its strength. Here it is on Friday. Saturday, yeah, you can see that strengthening again. There it is again. So this thing getting stronger is not out of the question. It's scary that as it's moving north, it's getting stronger. Now just imagine if it made a turn and headed toward us. If the setup in the atmosphere was different, that could happen. Luckily, it's not happening. But this is definitely one hell of a storm to watch. Look at this thing. And I'm going to put this in here and see how far it gets next week, too. Because look at this. I mean, this is just, look at it. It's still saying it in some form. Clearly see it. Look at that. It might hit Iceland. According to GFS, it might hit Iceland. So imagine a hurricane-like storm hitting Iceland. And then possibly Greenland. And this is going to be bad for the ice over here. So these storms bring up a lot of moisture, and it's not going to be good at all. So that's kind of interesting to look at as well. So I think that's going to wrap up this weather update. Again, we can go back to the European. One more thing I want to look at, and that's the waves. So we'll show you the waves that this thing is going to kick up to as well. Already, look at the waves it's kicking up. Let's see, we got 24 footers. So if we move this into Friday here, yeah, look at that. The whiter it gets, the higher the waves. And then Saturday, it's going to make its closest approach to us. And we're going to see some waves, definitely high surf. In the middle of this thing, 41-foot waves possible. So, yeah, this is just another crazy storm that we're dealing with in a crazy year. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. Take care, and thank you for watching.